Is everything on? I believe so. Let me make sure this is going to the right thing. Good morning. Minute early here. Yep, it's going to the right one. TikTok, motherfuckers. TikTok, you don't stop. And we're going to start it out with something different today. And now for something completely different. Where is it? Here we go. Oh, that's August. All right. Oh, I done lost it. Cue the music. This is the instrumental. Climb to the bottom. Well, we're here. It's Monday, 10:05. April 15th. Got a friend having brain surgery here in New Orleans today. Gonna finish up the finish up the interview tomorrow with David Keck on his podcast Surviving Trauma. If you haven't checked his podcast out, I believe it's on Apple Podcasts exclusively. I'm not sure, but it's got a lot of stories of survivors, different things. It's time for me to take my meds, my psych meds. Now, I have something to show related to Scientology, actually, I found in my Google Pics. And the names might sound familiar. I don't know. Somebody might know them. You know, withdrawal from benzos, if you're experiencing that, Lorna, big time help for me was meditation, breathing. But the thing is I would have to do it for 6 to 8 hours sometimes. So it's that part of it seems extreme, but yeah, to keep myself grateful to be alive, I had to do that sometimes. So I kept having this come up over the weekend, like, what do I want to talk about Monday? Well, there's some things happening. I should be up by next Monday. Should. It just depends. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Form 13. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning, Lorna. Good morning, everybody. From Central Standard Time, New Orleans, Louisiana. Sorry for partying. This week, yeah, so I have the David Keck thing, and then I'll be going into Lake Charles to appointment Friday for service, internet service at 50. I'm not giving away the address. At the place where I will be staying. So, that's just what we refer to it as. But it's the house that Mom and Ira lived in for, I don't know, 20 some odd years, 25 years, something like that. And without going into a whole lot of detail, over Easter, I went into town. I had a bad feeling. I had a dad gut feeling that I needed to be there. Like something inside me was saying, you don't need to be here right now. You need to be there right now. And I went and like there was evidence that was the right thing. So it indicated to me that I need to be there as soon as possible. So this is not like a planned thing. It's not actually This is actually a kind of a difficult thing, but ultimately the right thing. Um, so yeah, service connection Friday, Saturday or Friday, depending on when they show up and connect the service. Go pick up a trailer, drive here with the with my friend Robbie, who's the bassist and guitarist, friend of mine, and pack up the studio and bring it back to that location. There's a couple other studios that are under construction and or are being well, how do I put it? Put back together after the hurricane. Morning, Barb. You're tardy. Do you feel tardy? Hey, I forgot my pencil. Give me something to write on, man. I know a drummer who can play that drum part perfectly, and that is saying something. Reassembled, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, Lorna, definitely that's what worked for me. But class dismissed. Oh, I wish I could do the scream that he does. Oh man, it's not even a scream. It's like this nasal screech. Diamond Dave. I got pretty close to him one time. He played at Limelight in Lake Charles years ago in the 90s. Like 10 feet away from him. Steve Vai was playing guitar for him at that time. I got my pencil. Give me something to write on, man. 1984, right? Oh, yeah. So, moving the whole studio, the instruments, the remote recording gear, possibly the panels. I think two of us could get these panels down pretty quick. And also probably the broadcast console that's running the 24/7 radio. Some clothes. Not bringing a bed. Have that here. Cynthia's staying. I will be using her vehicle. And man, I've been waiting a long time to go back under the right circumstances. So let's just say that the opportunity arose because I could talk about that, and I do talk about that. Probably it's probably going to be in the David Keck interview because it covers a whole lot more than Scientology. But look, speaking of that, let's get that out of the way. That was in 2018, I believe. Let me find these Facebook posts that I screenshotted of a man talking about, just for fun, I guess, talking about you may be connected to suppressives on your Facebook. Now this was oh wow, I even have screenshots of Helena Ulentz, the person who never existed. Scrolling up here, I don't think there's anything bad here. No, there shouldn't be. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Main screen. This is my daughter and Travis's daughter. Stella and KK. Well, Kaylin is her name, but KK for short. There's me and Dale after a long day working on the studio. Um, here, no, where's the Facebook posts? Is this it? No, totally worth finding. Oh man, there's so many pictures in my Google stuff that, man, is it hard to find things. Is this it? Oh. This guy was talking about people. He was finding suppressives on people's friends' pages, known declared suppressives. It's got to be before here. And that they should. He said all kind of shit. They should. Oh man, how do I put this? You just kind of have to hear how they talk. How they talk to one another. You know how this culture works. What people talk like. Hmm. That's not it. So many pictures. I'll get lost. The topic today is slavery. Slavery. Hmm. I'm almost done with my coffee, and I still feel a little not awake. Hmm. So, anybody have anything to say about slavery? You took a walk with your son and dog? Or is that DIL? Dill. What's the deal, pickle? Not today, Satan. That's right. Turn that into gratitude is what I recommend. All of that buzzing, the tinnitus, the all that shit. Be grateful for it. That's the hard part. So I'm not saying it's easy. Slavery, shitty concept towards humanity. Yeah, would it apply to machines? I don't know. If they were conscious, I mean. But to me, slavery exists still. I don't think slavery ever went away. It just changed. Um, but there's different kinds. So which ones exist, I guess, depend on what you think is going on. Um, if you're born into a mafia family, and you go through the rites and rituals and you do what you're told. And I'm just using this as a hypothetical, easy to understand. Uh, then is that not a kind of enslavement? I mean, you might say to hell with all this stuff. Some people do, but some people don't. Um, if it's a effective group, effective in masters, enslavers, the use of fear alone will deter people from trying to leave or escape. But yeah, let's say you're raised in a mafia family, and you know that's what you that's how you were raised. That's what you know. You might know it's wrong. You might get cognitive dissonance a lot, or you may have been even trained to not have cognitive dissonance. There's examples of hitmen that seemed to have had no cognitive dissonance killing people. It was just something that they did. The same way that when you learn to kill an animal, you do have to sort of disassociate and just, um, in the moment, in the act of killing, um, there's some kind of dissociation going on. You're about to take a life, whether it's a uh, turtle or a frog or a deer, pigs. I guess there's varying degrees. Wild hogs that travel in bunches, it's when there's more of a threat, I guess, imminent threat, the cognitive dissonance might, you know, weigh out on a different ratio. So, because it's some form of self defense, self preservation. But when you kill, you know what I mean? The difference between that and killing. I mean, there are hitmen who are in prison now for sure. The reason we have any knowledge about their psychological profiles is because they're in prison. And now they can talk about this stuff and have therapists and psychiatrists talk to them. But yeah, like no noticeable cognitive dissonance, no different than killing a squirrel or a roach or a rat. The way we are able to dehumanize. And man, Scientology really good at dehumanizing. Mike Render did an interview once, Johnny Dangerously. My mother, my mother yelled at me once. Um, he said, at certain times you'd be happy to be an amoeba. I'm paraphrasing. Oh no, he said, you may be, yeah, he said at certain times you may feel like an ant that could be stepped on and squished and smushed with, your fingers. But that's really good because you could be an amoeba. There's really not a whole lot of consideration, care, thought given to a person's body. It's a meat body. And so if you're having complaints, which they call considerations, then that's out ethics. Sophia. Oh, okay, let's see here. Hey Whitney. Just getting some engagement this morning, talking about slavery, mafia stuff. And I was getting lost in pictures. Okay, so it's not like you can just leave and choose your own path in a mafia family, if only because others will always associate you with it. Yeah. No shit. No shit. Scientology stole from the ones that stole from the best. Wow, I like that. That's a good quote. That's a damn good quote. If Brian's still here, you should write that down, dude. Scientology stole from the ones that stole from the best. That's really good. I like that a lot. They did. I mean, the mafia's roots are based in Catholicism, most of them. Let's see if I can find the Consolata here. Well, speaking of family, we got my maternal grandmother here, Anita Morrow. She died in 2008. And my non-paternal grandfather, technically my step-grandfather, Joseph Parity. So, Morrow Parity. All right. My paternal grandfather, right here, Willie D. They spelled Pawpaw wrong. I think it was a matter of letters. He wanted a simple headstone. Willie D. Tardy, yeah. I don't feel tardy. Whitney, do you feel tardy? Okay, so yeah, here we go. Consolata. So, man. Oh no. We're doing this again. Here is for Whitney. Here. Fresh intro. Whitney's here, everybody. That was a misclick. It's going to throw me back on the chat screen. And I'm going to do this. This is, I love it. So this is the Consolata. All right. Fancy. These are, French, Creole, Italian, Sicilian, all cultures really. Um, but it's kind of a hard place to get into for whatever reason. Maybe you have to prove something or another. You got names like Laverne, Fruget, Como, Savoy, Robichaux, O'Fry. I wonder if that's Irish. Um, Fogel, Wise, Neal, Childress, Guillory, Landry, Brant, Salvador, Wright, Corville, Britton, Webb, LaPointe. The Salvadors are family. Fruget's are family for me. Also the um, where are they at? Desertel. It's just all these names: Keaton, Scott, Baker, Savoy, Carpenter. Anyways, Consolata. Um, Giving me ideas for tomorrow with David. I was going through pictures and making highlight reels. Um, I love this photo. I gotta share it. This is something. If you know, you know. It's a handprint on someone's window. It says, "We know." So, um, hmm. Oh goodness, Scientology stole from the ones that stole from the best. Yeah, I take that to mean Scientology stole from everything, like the Catholic Church, the I'm sorry, the Holy Roman Catholic Church. I feel like they had they have still some, but used to employ even more, uh, like effective, brutally effective, coercive stuff. But they still have an arsenal of things because you can't do this stuff without appealing to somebody's greater truth or belief. It's just incredibly difficult to find a really, really, really evil person. I think that's why we don't see more uh, churches dedicated to like committing acts of crime, other than the government or you know terrorist organizations. Good afternoon, Hans. Hmm. I don't know how to say hello in your native language. Hmm. Hi. So, I mean, I'm really kind of like softballing it in today because I got a big week ahead of me. Um, and weekend. It's going to stretch all the way into the weekend. Uh, yeah, what are you doing that for? Yeah, I know. There. Okay. So I'm softballing it in, talking about slavery, debt slavery. You know how that works? Okay. Let me see if I can pronounce that. I think the two little dots on the O means I'm supposed to do something with my throat, but I don't know if I can do it. Um, Skonen Nachmittag. Did I say it right? Let me know. Does anyone know how debt slavery works? That was close enough. Well, you know what that means to me when people say, close enough? That means it was wrong. Because even when Cynthia tries to say boudin and she gets it pretty good, I'm like, that's close enough. But it's not right. Boudin. It's spelled like this. Pronounced boudin. It's the that is important. Boo is easy to say. Is easy to say, I think. May not be easy. But then there's the D in the middle. Boudin. Boudin. I have a feeling that the slavery topic is just going to go nowhere. So if someone wants to share a topic, I mean, debt slavery is a really common thing to get people under control, for someone to exercise some kind of control. Indentured slaves? What do you mean? School loan slavery, yeah. That's definitely debt slavery. It works by being coerced into loans that you can't realistically pay. Something that Scientology does a lot with reg cycles. They're called reg cycles. They mean registration cycles. And registrars are the people who are trained to do that. And so one of the way, if you don't fall for one form, there's always another. Like if you don't buy the OCA personality test and you don't think that's right, a registrar is going to sit down with you and talk to you and do more deep analysis, let's call it. Get you to talk about information that can then be used to get you in a position to where you think you need some help. It could be by arranging a loan. So that you can get some auditing, because this OCA and course stuff, I don't want to go to school, but if, there's some kind of therapy I can do that you call auditing, I could go for that. So a registrar will be a first and second line master enslaver. Witness. I've been kind of down because the 11th Circuit Appeals upheld the arbitration clause for Sea Org forced the Baxters and Valeska Paris into religious arbitration. So slavery has been on my mind. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, slavery is legal. what you what this is all pointing to is that yeah, slavery is legal as long as you're a church and you don't even have to pay taxes. They can't take that dirty money, I guess. Um, However, you have on the other side in the government, we have separation of church and state, right? Separation in name, I guess. They do pretty much the same types of things to each other and other people. I'm not saying that's what the governing bodies are designed to do, but they do pretty much similar things, types of things to each other and other people. Lorna Huddleston, Andrew Johnson indentured, and Andrew Jackson forced to work to pay off indebtedness of their family, that kind of stuff. Yeah, been going on a long time. You know, what are the consequences of freeing a people? What are the consequences of a free world? We don't know. Is there some sort of fucking reason that we don't know as to why slavery is okay? As long as you're a church and you don't pay taxes, therefore we have no association and no they have plausible deniability, you know? Well, we don't even take your money, so how are we supposed to know what you're doing? We gave you exemption. Human trafficking, big part of slavery, how it works. People get lured or abducted and likely groomed and exploited for labor, or if you're a man, probably just labor. If you're a woman, sex work. See, Sophia, I don't know what it is about y'all Germans. Y'all are smart as fuck. Because we need someone to provide the cheap labor. Yeah. In order for us to live the way that we do, you know, it's lost on us, much on me even. You know, I don't think about it a lot. All the items, all the things, the electronics, all the things that I'm using to talk to you with now, have some kind of forced or slave labor involved in it, or like cheap labor. Forced labor, you know, you can prove that groups can prove that it's not forced labor, like Scientology. You can't walk in there and say that an SO member, Sea Org member, they won't tell you that it's forced labor. They'll tell you that they're clearing the planet. They'll tell you that they love what they do. They'll tell you that they would do it all over again for the next billion years if you're hip enough to ask about eternity. but what really has happened is that they've been psychologically abused, possibly physically abused, excessively, to get them to work and toe that line. I can't imagine what that must be like. Like, I guess I can. The French and the natives. Yes, even the natives. Like, there were some warring tribes and massacres, and the French uh, have their history. The British, obviously. Um, but Germany has such a different. It's kind of like, I guess, if you had a little fire and you're like, oh, it's under control, but then it just raged out of control. Like, the potential, I think it proved a lot of things to humans, and it prompted a lot of study into psychology, because the Germans were really uh, thorough in their documentation about uh, all of their medical and psychological stuff. We have them to thank for so much of what we know, but at an incredibly steep cost. You know, yeah, we're kind of the wildfire of history in a way. Yeah, totally. Um, yeah. When I met my first German immigrant, uh, the first German immigrant I met, not my first. It's like a slave or something. No, Anna Schmidt. She's a PhD in psychiatry now, the University of Jena. Um, and when I met her, I was young. I was in Scientology. I was into Scientology. I was no longer on staff, but I was moonlighting at the internet cafe. And good morning, Anne Christine Fountain. Uh, the hell was I saying? Hmm. We were talking about the Germans. Uh, Forced labor. Wow. Domestic servitude. This is something that is super common in America, in many places. Uh, it's a form of forced labor within private households. So it works. The victims are either vulnerable individuals, immigrants, people with low education levels, or just not aware of how these types of methods of psychological manipulation work. Um, you you stack sleep deprivation, physical violence, emotional violence, food deprivation. Uh, yeah, just those alone, you can create a domestic servitude slave, domestic slave. I mean, my mother would fit that category for, better part of 30 years, from 1969 to 1999, something like that. um, she came from a big family, 6 kids, and she was probably afraid of being, leaving home, being isolated in under poor living conditions, around people who were. She was a very pretty girl, so around people who were overly uh, eager in a time where women were supposed to be overly submissive. Cinderella was a domestic slave. Connect the dots. La 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 la. Ding. Cinderella was a domestic slave. Yeah. Remember how pissed off everyone was whenever the shoe fit? Oh, can't be. Can't be. She's just a slave girl. So, last week I did a 3-hour talk about environmental controls. I just went over basic forms of slavery. Now, if you've ever done any reading about the Scientology auditing program called the L's, then you know, or you will soon know, that it is all about being enslaved and enslaving others. This is a rigorous psychological program, auditing program, excuse me, to get the individual to think about being enslaved and enslaving others. And they work this on this system called flows. I'm not going to get into flows. You can go talk to Chris Shelton about that. I know about flows, but I don't want to be corrected because I'm not an expert on it. He did the data series. Flows, self to other to self, other to other. There's 4 flows. And so that's 1, 2, 3, and then you to others. So 4 flows. That may not be in the right order. You got the order wrong. Anyways, I'm not picking on maybe just a little picking on Chris. I love Chris. He's a sweetheart. He doesn't want to. Yeah, he's tender-hearted. Is what I would say. And I like that about him. But yeah, slavery and being enslaved on every flow. It's called intensives, so they're intensive. They're intense. They're delivered all at once. Because when you do an auditing action, that's the way you get that end product. They call it the EP, the end phenomenon. of whatever. A person, it's always a bull. I fully understand the blah, blah, da, 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 da. Can you attest to that? Yeah. What it really means is a whole nother deeper level of brainwashing. And now you're more willing to enslave others and be enslaved. So that's fun. It's like such a it's right. It's right to call it a technology. It's some kind of. Oh yeah. What's his name? Alan Watts warned us about this shit. Called it psychotechnics. It's very primitive at this point with the e-meter and everything, but psychotechnics, man, very dangerous indeed. Was going through the photos from when I left in 2017, and yeah, I know people dropping off. I guess it's boring. I get it. And it's Monday, halfway through the month. We had a solar eclipse after last week's broadcast. Didn't get to see it, really. Street flooded so bad, could have took a P-road to the store. Spartacus, a big ass slave. Yeah. Yeah. Spartacus. I watched the first season, and then Spartacus died of cancer, the actor, and I was like, I can't. I've committed to his acting, and it did. Eventually, I went back and watched the rest. Um, but it was hard for me to go and watch. Um, right after he had passed. So, domestic slavery. What do we call it? What's it called? Yeah, domestic servitude. Um, so, oh man, I am grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful that I'm not enslaved. Not to my knowledge, anyways. Hey, Bach. Morning. Indentured. Did we miss that one? Indentured labor. Yeah. The I mean, it's the definition of domestic servitude is a form of forced labor where individuals are exploited within private households. I mean, this could be for a company, it could as well, but I think those terms pretty much mean the same thing: domestic servitude and indentured servants. Um, you know, personal assistants. It's a big thing in Hollywood. PAs. Everyone know? Yeah, y'all know what that means. PA, personal assistant. Um, I would qualify a lot of situations where that is a job for someone as indentured labor, indentured servitude, or domestic servitude, because there is usually an ownership, like the perception is the person paying for the service considers that their owned service, meaning the persons performing it belong to them. There you go, witness. I've seen them called interns, people working for free experience, seen in politics and Hollywood a lot. Yes. Yes. Is it necessary? No. Is it necessary that I drink my own urine? No. But I like it, but it's sterile and I like the taste. Dodgeball? Anybody? You're going down, LaFleur. Chattel. I'm not sure what that is. Is that about a Kirk Douglas? Oh, Lorna likes the Kirk Douglas one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The old school one, or OG Spartacus. But maybe it's Chattel. Was that Barb saying the last name? Mm. Yeah, I mean, there's a picture hanging up above me. Let me see if I've got it in my Google. Wilma? Nope. So I'll have to take a picture sometime. Wilma Faye was, let's see, Purple Head. Or Willie D. Head, maybe. Oh, man. I don't have any pictures of Purple Head on my phone. So, maybe he's Googleable. Okay. Here's the page. There we go. All right. This is his memorial page. Died August 31st, 2010. Well, it's hard to see, really. Can I open the image in a new tab? Maybe make it bigger. There we go. So that's Purple Head. Otherwise known to me as a child as Black Pawpaw. Now, Black Pawpaw ain't exactly black. He ain't exactly white. I miss this man so much. Willie D. His wife, well, they weren't married. They were just together. Uh, he had a hard life, man. he, like so many fathers and mothers, I'm not gonna. Oh, here we fucking go again. Here we fucking go. It's a riot today. So, yeah. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because Cynthia is gonna post this shit. But like, yeah, if you can help out through PayPal, that would be better than buy me a coffee because um, buy me a coffee, I have to go through two other transactions, lose $6-7 in the process, and I can't transfer unless there's $25. Any other week I wouldn't care, but this week, if you want to help me out because I'm going to be moving and a $1.17 in my bank or less, that would be the place to do it. There's the link. So Willie D, his partner was Wilma Faye. I don't have a picture of her. Might be able to find one through the internet. Wilma Faye. Oh, her last name wasn't changed. Wilma Faye had. Oh, Wilma Faye. D. There we go. No? Shit. Fuck me. Oh, man. Maybe if I Google the wreck. Woman dies in tragic 18-wheeler accident, Vidor, Texas. No. This would have been around 2000, or no, 1990. 90s. Oh, man. This is fucked up. Anyways, Wilma Faye. Wilma Faye ran a house of ill repute. But something to remember is that her and Papa were born in the 20s in the South. Not that this shit didn't happen everywhere, but it was a little more open here. So, there was no pimp. She was the madam. And the bar she ran with her son. I have an early memory of visiting that place, and I asked my mom about it, and she said, "Yeah, we went there one time." I was like, "Okay, that's what that memory is." I know exactly where it is. It's actually on the way that I usually go back to Lake Charles in Mermentau. Can we say Mermentau? Mermentau. Can we spell Mermentau? Probably not. This is how you spell Mermentau. Um, what's up, Nick? Good morning. Yeah, she ran a fun house. Honestly, I wouldn't know because when I visited as a child, that place had long been shut down. But there were still tables. It was a mess. She was going up there to talk to her son because her son was not doing well, and yeah, she what they call in pimp slang, I guess, is break a bitch. She was able to break a bitch, but she also, of course, took care of them. From what I am told, she also tried to rotate people out, get them out. Like, okay, you're having a hard time. Think about it like this: 1940s, 50s, 60s, and then the 70s is whenever it kind of the end of the 70s is whenever it from what I'm told is when it all kind of came to an end. But from the 40s to the 70s, if you were a woman who was divorced or a woman that was being abused by your husband, ain't nobody give a shit. Ain't nobody give a fuck if your husband beating the hell out of you for whatever damn reason he sees fit. So, if it gets bad enough, like your face is swollen up, you could go to the fun house and make some money and get yourself out of that situation. This is what I'm told Wilma Faye did for some people, but I'm sure not everybody. This is probably how my papa met her too, because he was a pretty isolated guy. He worked a lot. When he got here from Alabama, he worked in the store that his uncle owned. As soon as he was able to get a job in the oil field, he worked in the oil field, made a lot of money, and had a very high amount of child support to pay because my paternal grandmother left with my mother when she was a year old. And I know what that feels like. And I know what that can do now. And having grown up around the man and lived with him, when I left Scientology, I didn't go back and stay with my stepfather and my stepfather and mom. I went to Papa Heads and I stayed out there for months. There was this quiet. He was like a monk. But we would talk sometimes. And he was very lighthearted on the outside, but he carried a heavy, heavy, heavy heart. Walk on the Wild Side is streaming on Tubi about a whorehouse in NOLA. Great music to film. Fallout is on Amazon Prime, and I highly recommend it. And I thought it was going to be a piece of trash. Um, is my chat lagging? I'm not seeing. I see Sophia's comment in my OBS, but not on the other chat screen. I just see Lorna's. Do I need to refresh? Bup. Might create a bit of a paradox here. There we go. Here. Yep. All right. Let me grab this link again. All right. I don't know what the deal was there. Or is there? I don't see Sophia's comment except in the live restream chat. It was the one job that a woman could always do in history. Yes. You can always get on your knees. I'm not trying to glorify her profession, Wilma Faye's profession, at all. I'm just saying that you deal with what the fuck you've been dealt, right? You get this. I love cards. I love playing cards. Me and the kids played some cards. Me and Cynthia and uh, a friend that was traveling through, we played some cards, and I love cards because you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get, and you just gotta. If you got nothing, you can still win. You can bluff. You can act like you got nothing when you got something. You can act like you got something when you got nothing. And playing cards with people, you can learn their telegraphs. In some ways, it's irreversible for me. The how I think about these person to person interactions, community interactions, the flows that I talked about earlier. It's hard for a lot of former Scientologists to fully get rid of the conceptualization of things as were presented, because a lot of times they just make too much sense. The issue is there's, the parts that make sense always have what I used to call hooks in them. It's the bait and the hook, the bait and it's not bait and switch. It's bait it, hook it. You want to hook it. You don't want to bait. You can bait and switch, but eventually you're going to want to bait and hook. You keep baiting and switching, you're going to lose the catch. You want something on the line. You can use all these forms of psychological manipulation to keep something on the line. Andrew Bustamante, who may be a disinformation agent, could be a legit former CIA. Might be a promotional tool for the CIA at the moment for recruitment purposes, because they do need recruits. But manipulation and cooperation are both they're on the same coin. Depends on how you want to flip it. Are you going to try to get someone to cooperate? True, like, earnestly, or are you going to just manipulate them? And it can be somewhere in between because it's that dynamic. I had to start an OnlyFans page so as to not go homeless again. I thought about that. Maybe I should do it because I don't. Tish and Bach, like, have. Whatever. If you can help, you can help. If not, I'm here to offer what I can, whatever it's worth. But I seriously did think about an OnlyFans. But then I started, call it butt stuff. Yeah. But no joke, I started thinking about Fran Drescher, and then I was like, what if instead of OnlyFans, I just start a website called OnlyFrans, just for lulz, which that wouldn't help me make money. That would spend more money. But I think it'd be hilarious to just have OnlyFrans, where it's nothing but Fran Drescher on every profile with different Frans. The different, like, if you ever watched that whatever show it was in the 90s, like, she'd go through phases, so you could have the different phases of Frans. And probably need to work on my Fran Drescher impression. And Christine, I need tips on psychological warfare. I'm searching for a sugar daddy, not because I want one, because I want to survive. I have a free link to my G-rated spicy content. Okay, well, feel free to post it. I don't mind. But I am curious about, you need tips on psychological warfare. Is this to use on someone in order to make someone a sugar daddy for you? The nanny, that's what it was. Thank you, Sophia. She was also in Spinal Tap. She played a producer or something. It was really funny. She's the one that breaks the news to the band that their album cover has been changed. It's quite funny. Okay, you answered yes. Well, yeah. I don't really feel comfortable giving advice on how to, like, pursue someone psychologically in that way from the start for that purpose. But there is a book that is, like, I think it's even available on Amazon Books or Google Play. Okay. I'm not sure what autistic burnout is. But the 48 Laws of Power. It's a older book. Read the 48 Laws of Power. if that's what you're looking for. Um, I understand. You do what you got to do. I just don't feel right talking about, hey, this is how to manipulate people to, get what you need, and without any regard or respect for their persons. Um, you own that book. Okay. Yeah. Be the perfect fantasy is the trick for the girlfriend experience, at least. Yeah, there are definitely other creators that teach you how, and there's also some creators that um, have some really, really powerful healing stuff, but at the same time, they're using that to 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 gain, you know, this status among their viewers, readers, because they're authors and stuff. Um, you know, many of them don't have an education. They're just going off of empathy and feeling and stuff like that. Like um, there's not necessarily any uh, factual stuff. I mean, there's always truth, right? You can't operate without that. You have to, in order to establish a lie, you need truth. So, um, Amy Jean knows what that is. Oh, Nick makes a good point. Serendipitous meetings is more important than finding people looking for the girlfriend experience. Uh, what a great way for me to respond to that. I'm glad Nick said that because it gives me a opportunity to say something about what Anne's talking about and what she needs to do or what she wants to do. Uh, the more you cultivate serendipity, um, the more opportunities arise. So if you incorporate that into there, I think um, I can't say it'll all be good that comes out of it, because I gotta say this, when you knowingly go into something for that end, like you're gonna pay a price, some kind of price. Maybe not immediately. Um, but yeah, you're gonna pay a price for it. Um, OnlyFans is I guess it's has a multi-purpose design. I could start an OnlyFans for music. I could also start an OnlyFans of me getting pegged in the ass, you know? Um, or they could be on the same page. Um, oh, yeah, you've stopped eating. That's not good. And Christine, You follow lots of late diagnosed autistic adults. Um, that's a rough. That's a rough one, man. You know, my ex-wife was diagnosed late, and that in combination with leaving Scientology and being her up to that point stable, like firmament, like I know this person's always going to be this way, and her going through, learning about what, and actually once she started to learn about it, she didn't want to learn about it. She kind of ignore it, and went a complete different direction. I don't know if you're familiar with wrongplanet.com, but she went there, and um, it's just averse to any kind of interpretation, um, aside from we are the genetically superior human beings on planet Earth, and everyone else who's neurotypical are basically the new version of Cro-Magnon. And there are some pretty extreme views on that website. Um, and yeah, I was definitely, during the divorce, made a target on that website. I had people uh, posting that they were attempting to hack all my devices and track my IPs and all this stuff to help her get her divorce because I was a narcissistic abuser and sexually assaulted her and the kids, and was a drug dealer and never worked a day in my life, and um, stole her drugs after uh, she got out of the hospital, and just all kinds of shit. It was a long list of stuff. Most egregious being the sexual assault thing, because then the state government had to get involved. Too weak to leave your apartment. Well, that's not good. Beach. Hmm. It's okay. I mean, yeah, if I was like actively doing an OnlyFans, I would be desperate too. I mean, I am desperate. I've been desperate for a long time. Going back to Lake Charles is something that I'm 4 years late for in my mind, because when I left in 2017, I saw and hung out with my kids for what seemed like the last time period that, was an extended everyday kind of thing. Uh, for years, and I didn't plan on it taking this long. It's 7.4 years, which is 4 years late in my mind. Um, because I only planned for it to take 2 to 4 years. But that day is here. One day is here. Check this out. This is some stuff from 2017. Oh, it's not sharing the audio. Here we go. Let's start over.
Let's have some fun today. Let's have some fun today. Let's have some fun today, little doggy. Let's have some fun today. Let's have some fun. That's all.
That's all. Okay. Let's have some fun today, little doggy. So those are my two kids in Lake Charles. And after that, shortly after that, due to some domestic stuff, to avoid domestic conflict, to avoid violence. Here's a turtle we rescued. Stella wanted to rescue these little turtles. They were in the yard drying up. This one was completely dried up, not moving. And she was like, "Can we save it?" I'm like, "Maybe. Turtles need water." Yeah, so that was that many years ago. Does not feel like that was that long ago, but it was. The last Christmas we had really was in 2017. 2018 was the year that, like early 2018 was the year that the GoFundMe funded, and I was able to get, maybe it was after it funded. Looks like before. Yeah, so went to Clearwater, went to Jackson, Mississippi, went to New Orleans, went to Lake Charles, went to New Orleans, Lake Charles, New Orleans. Oh man, there's just so much to cover if I was going to talk about all of that, So, yeah, Rob, there's a guy named Rob who essentially paid for 70% of the GoFundMe. There were only a couple of people that donated and helped, were able to help. And Rob doesn't like to be mentioned, so I won't say his last name, but went to Vegas, saw Sandrine. What am I getting at here? My kids. I would not say that my kids are in any kind of domestic servitude thing. Here's what severe inflammation looks like in the face. And stress. Lots of stress. That's what that looks like to me. Um, I mean, it may sound stereotypical and oh, what's the word? Yeah, that's probably good enough word, stereotypical. But I had a little rig. I go play on the street and make my money because at that time I was still requiring some surgeries. Recommended that I do not work. And this is about how much I'd make in a couple hours. But whatevs. Headless Horseman. You know, I can look at this stuff now and not just brain melt. But, you know, there's me on the side of the fucking road waiting for a ride. And living in a studio, still was able to make it to school events when I could. Still was able to bring the kids to the doctor all the way up into 2018. And then a moment came. You guys, some of you have heard this tune. On Backflash, but this was the original recording the night that I wrote it or had finished the arrangement. It's called Leave It All Behind.
Just about run out of time. Just about lost your mind. At least you finally know wrong from right. Time to leave it all behind. Oh, there was nothing you could do. The fault don't lie in you. Still it's hard to see the truth, but it's fine, leave it all behind. Getting really tired always crying. Know that one day it'll all be fine. Down the road, you'll see the sign of that place you left behind. Of that place that you left behind. No more pain. Yeah, just a breeze. No more screaming. Yeah, just a tree. No more hurt. Just a sound of the ocean and the sun going down. Leave it all behind. Leave it all behind. Your sweet son. Leave it all behind. Leave it all behind. Leave it all behind. Your whole world, your little girl. Leave it all behind. So dry them tears off your face. Only so much time and space. In my heart I know you're all mine. To leave it all behind. Yeah, I had to leave it all behind.
So, when we did that on Backflash, I had played it for Doug, and he was like, "Oh my god, that's a fucking awesome song! It works perfect for when you're leaving California and you're looking back and you know we'll cover that part of the story and all that." And I'm like, okay, sure. That's not what the song is about, but you know, creative license and all that. Sure, why not? The song is about leaving my daughter and my son behind. And and having looked at every option that was possible in front of me and seeing that, okay, I'm going to have to reapproach this after some. I mean, I had taken a large kick in the balls, figuratively and literally, in life. So, and you know, there was no net. You know, there was no net to fall in, so I just splat on the ground. I needed to get outside of the situation, reevaluate, recenter, and I didn't expect that to take more than a couple years. But you know, pandemics happened, hurricanes happened, uh, lots of things happened, unforeseen events, and it threw my schedule off. So there's a sort of a antithesis of that song that has emerged over the last year. I've been working on called One Day. And yeah, the hook is One Day is Here. That someday thing is over and one day is here. You got one day. I think I know for me, one day at a time. It's now I do make plans and I'm all kinds of stuff, but that doesn't mean that's gonna happen. All I can focus on is one thing at a time, one day at a time, and tightrope walk the rest. Maybe the plans work out, maybe they don't. Good plans, or plans make the best kindling. I like that quote. Mock, Sophia. Good music transcends the original situation often and becomes universal. I I feel like at some point during those years of those kind of challenges that I was facing, I'm grateful for because it put me in a place mentally where I couldn't really even bear to write about what was going on, but I could write about it if it was ambiguous enough. In other words, even that song, Leave It All Behind, I wrote it because I wrote it, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like it was going to bite me. Like I didn't want to, I wanted to be really careful of how I wrote the words because I didn't want them biting me. There were some songs in that period of time where I could barely even perform. I get so emotional. I was writing about what was going on. And yeah, there's a song I played in front of my friend Bo and his wife, and I just lost it, man. And so did she. We both lost it because it was real shit that was happening at the time, and I was able to express it in music. But it was very, very personal. Um, and I had shared that with them, and the raw emotion came out, and it had a deep impact on both of them. But writing ambiguously, but with experience, with the having lived through those challenges, having lived through it. I'm grateful because not everybody does live through it, that is. Maybe it is an American thing, Lorna. I'm not sure. Yeah, and I don't know, that's one of those things that haven't, I mean, do you see uh, a counselor or a provider? I mean, late life diagnosis isn't a death sentence. You can still learn coping stuff, but there are things that are going to be like, you know, near impossible to off limits, right? I never know if it's sarcasm or not because it's just plain text. I hope that's good. And, uh, oh man, it's the will to eat that's going away. My son has a similar issue. This is part, this is a big part of why I now is the opportunity for me to go back, move the studio, um, so that I can attempt to do something because their mother isn't going to, she won't. So, um, I must try. Well, that's good, and I'm glad. I wish that, yeah, people who got it, not everyone that gets their diagnosis can, like, will seek any kind of help for it. And then, even if you do, there are practitioners that think there's no help for you, you know, because of what they've learned in school or whatever. They have no fucking life experience with living with autism. There's a lot of autism on my side of the family, on the LaFleur side. And yeah, there's some in the LaFleur side, and there's also some, yeah, from the, oh, what was Mary's last name? I don't remember. My brother's wife. They have two children that are on the spectrum, one high, one low, and one that's neurotypical, which hard to imagine. But yeah, whether it's high functioning, low functioning, they all present challenges. Neurotypical people present challenges. Bipolar people have their own set of challenges. Insecurity issues. I mean, all of the things that we experience mental health wise are going to present at various points challenges, right? Um, and not everyone who has an education in psychology or psychiatry um, is capable or interested in certain types of uh, pathologies, mental pathology. So they may not be good. Someone who may be a great doctor or therapist or, yeah, psychiatrist or therapist for someone with autism, previously known as Asperger's, high spectrum autism, or ASD, previously known as Asperger's. Asperger's had quite a number of different treatment plans, some of which were none treatment. Um, there you go. You made it this far. I like that. It can be really hard to be grateful. That's why I say I practice it. I don't necessarily say I'm grateful. I do when I practice it. I'll say I'm grateful. Like it'll remind me to be grateful. Of course, Anne. Like it's no problem. No problem for me anyway. I thought it was funny that who was it, Bach? It's like, oh, now it makes sense for the oversharing. Maybe that was someone else, but I thought that was funny. Um, yeah. ultimately, you do what you got to do. And Wilma Faye had to do what she had to do. My papa had to do what he had to do. The reason I miss him so much is because what he had to do was so sad that there was really for a long time he was very sad. And I can relate because, when Vanessa left with Stone, he was a year old. It was like taking a baby son. It's fucking. I get emotional thinking about it still now. But over time, I've learned to become grateful for what I've got, grateful for the opportunities that I have, grateful for the support that I've gotten. I am trying to be grateful for everything that I can think of because there is a whole lot to be grateful for. Support isn't just, which growing up in the house I grew up in, support just meant money. No, it's so much more than that. There's so many other ways you can support somebody other than money. Willingness to listen, you know, helping a friend in need, recognizing that they truly are in need, but not putting the other person before you, right? But people who have the sense of self-preservation first, but then also have the sense of, oh, if I can preserve myself, I may be able to help support this other person while they're going through a hard time, maybe something that I haven't experienced myself that looks very difficult. And that kind of support, you can't put a price on. That kind of support can change someone's life. Last week I kept saying pivot. This can pivot a person's life to a point to where they can actually do something about it and not be so kicked into the ground and stuck to the heel of the world that they have no hope of ever being scraped off. Support isn't just a river in Egypt. I like that. That's funny. I still really like Sophia's quote. Scientology stole what others stole. Scientology stole the best of what everyone else stole. Something like that. Sophia, we had issues with my dad about eating and got him liquid food, and that's what got him through it. Could that work for you? Cynthia mentioned that with Stone. We're going to try it. I got to get there. The other aspect of this is, end of life care, preemptive. Like my mother is by no means at the, none shall know the time, right? But so long as everything, is as it is right now, she should live. She should live an average or above average lifespan. Don't know about Ira, based on his based on his habits alone, you would think he would have a below average lifespan, but he's already died once for 20 minutes, and there are some people who just are too stubborn to die. And they'll basically be walking zombies or sitting zombies until they die. My grandmother was like that. She lived to be, she was holding on for 100. And I think she died when she was 87. But yeah, any food counts when you're struggling to eat. Absolutely. So, yeah, I have to be there for all this stuff to happen with regards to the nutrition and all that. And hopefully it won't get ugly. Hopefully I can just get it taken care of. I have the support of my therapist. I have the support of Cynthia. I have the support of my mother. I have the support even of, this is hard to believe, but Ira and I are on the same page on this. My brother Maynard on the same page. Everyone's on the same page about it. Um, hmm. Oh, we hear you, Ann. I didn't consider you whining, really. Hell, I've if that's whining, then I've whined on plenty of broadcasts saying I guess I need to go start an OnlyFans account because I don't do this for money. People give me money, and that's very helpful. But it's like I said, that's not. There's different kinds of support. There's more than one reason to do this. I do need to probably take that SPTV logo off of the Ding thumbnail, though, because I don't want to get served whenever the foundation gets approved. I was told early on when they released all those graphics and they distributed them to everybody, free for use, no license needed, whatever. I'm sure that'll probably change. Hey, if anything for today, everybody that's here should give themselves a fucking pat on the back. and especially Anne for sharing that you feel better now that someone else understands and has heard you. That has to feel better, doesn't it? Um, sometimes that's not all we need, but it's a big piece. It can be motivating. Like you said, you want to keep it positive. Well, I think that's pretty positive. You've been heard. So what else can be heard? Where is my? I can play another instrumental and we can fast forward to the highlights of 2020. Is there a highlight reel for 2021? Let's see, y'all. 17 highlights. So we moved here to New Orleans in 2021. And okay, apparently I did the soundtrack for Necroball in 2021. And we finished the record in 2021. So let's play a tune. Look at some pitches. And what tune is it going to be? How about How about a 4-minute song? Yeah, Sub Pop, Whitney. That's what they sent Rick when he got his Grammy. That mug. This loser. I thought that was like so Sub Pop of Sub Pop to do that. So when we were mixing, I make tea, and I put that in his mug. Um, one more thing, if you guys want to do something uh, to support my music, to help make something potentially really awesome happen. Um, you could contact and just send an email requesting to see. Here we go. Uh, Here we go. Here's the contact info. The Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra uh, has a, I guess it's a seasonal thing where they do some local artists content, and because the album has a lot of strings and stuff in it, I mean, really, it could be performed just by an orchestra, play the melodies and whatnot. There have been some people tagged me. My brother tagged me. Skeeter tagged me. Uh, Somebody else tagged me in this post regarding of a member of the Philharmonic that Travis went to school with. So if you go to that link in this page, if you want, this is optional, but it would help. You could email that email patron.services@lpomusic.com and say, I would love to hear Devontae LaFleur played by the Louisiana Philharmonic. I mean, you could send an email, you could call, you could do whatever, but that could be really awesome. I know I would enjoy it. Rick would enjoy it as well. And hopefully the audience would enjoy it. I think that crowd would more so than typical bar crowds. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. You just never know. So, before I go and play Fallout for the rest of the damn day, yeah, witness a lot of friends touring this summer. We're gonna be working on promoting, not promoting. We need to learn the fucking record and be able to play it appropriately in a live setting. So that's what we'll be doing. I was reminded by Rick that this was no minor release. This was a major release. I don't have the major label, so I have to do it slow and steady. All right, patience. Patience is bitter, but its reward is sweet. I believe it's actually patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. So, yeah, touring. Okay, I can think of right off the top of my head, Scott Byram has been on the road already for almost 2 months. Andy Frasco's been on the road for the last year and a half, and he's not stopping. Ryan Westbrook, my friend who manages OMD, they've been on the road for 6 months and have summer tours booked. It's all back in swing. I'm not going to say full swing because of airplane travel and security stuff, but it's back in swing. And in 2020, there was a Bob Lefsetz interview with my buddy Ryan's old boss, and he called it all out. He spelled it out. No one wanted to believe it, but it was the truth, and he was fucking right. There would be no performances on the scale that, we're used to until 2022. And then after that, things will start to spin up. And by 2024, 2025, things will be in swing again, not full swing. Um, my one of my exes was offered the synth part in that band, the Replacements, to do the do wee 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 dee doo doo dee doo doo dee doo. Patty Wizenhunt. She was like, I don't know how to play the damn synth. They're like, it doesn't matter. You're pretty and stuff. It's L.A. And she's like, no, fuck that. Much respect, Patty Wizenhunt. About the music business. Oh man, I could rap about that. Maybe I will at some point. Well, I have on K-Fuck, but what is it that we're supposed to do now? Well, I ain't telling. Because people like to steal your ideas, man. Not that I have any bright ideas. Beach, you funny, man. When we do the Tammy Sinovac stuff, there's pictures. There's pictures of Monica. Yep. Big old Monica. Oh, I'll never forget. Doug's on speakerphone. I'm talking to him in the kitchen. It's late. And he's like asking me all these really deeply personal questions about what happened after staff. And he's like, well, man, I hope you don't mind me asking, but I gotta ask about Monica, dude. Did y'all ever hook up? Excuse me. Road Hummers. No road Hummers. He went comic on me and was like, oh, I see. You don't want to talk about you titty fucking Monica in the back seat of a whatever Hummer. And then as soon as I hear that and I start laughing, I turn around. Cynthia's just in the hallway, like walking into the kitchen. And I'm looking at the phone and I'm looking at her and I'm just like, oh, Doug. Guilt sneeze. Is that even a thing? I don't think so. I have regret. I do have lots of regrets. And I learned that having regrets is very good. It's a short book called Regret: How Looking Backwards Helps Us Move Forward. Short book. Really, really good. I had the look of death on my face. Yeah, I was mortified. I was totally mortified. I was fucking mortified when he said, oh, yeah, you're just like, so you're like titty fucking Monica. And for the record, I never titty fucked Monica. Like, where did you get that? It was funny, but it didn't happen. Anyways, this is what they call joking and degrading. And I do care and love Monica, and I wish she would be out of Scientology. There is, there's people that you love in these groups you care about. You don't want to see them continue in that thing. Oh yeah, Lorna. Doug was off the air. Oh man, totally. And to be fair, when I'm in my group, well, thanks Barb and Whitney. Uh, Appreciate that a lot. That's gonna help. But also, you help me. You help every week just by being here. That's how I start my week. So that I have a week to start. Otherwise, it all just kind of goes together. Okay, you said Doug Gross. I can be pretty raunchy myself. When I'm not in public, which I consider this to be a public group. I mean, we share stuff, but that's private in nature, but we share it publicly. So, uh, I don't make assumptions about who's here. So, you know, I don't necessarily get real raunchy or use a whole lot of swear words or whatever. Yeah, I remember that, and I remember Whitney says Doug always got shit for calling women gals. I thought it was hilarious. Well, just so you know, Doug did not think that was hilarious. He felt like he felt terrible. He felt absolutely fucking terrible. I'm serious. Like, he was upset that he upset people by saying gals because it was just something that he says. You know, he's a California dude, bro. Bro. Seriously, bro? Like, he's one of those kind of California dudes from Ventura County. Like, that's about as southern California you can get and still be, in a suburban, rich, mostly white neighborhoods. And so, of course, he's going to have that accent, the West Coast surfer dude, bro, man, bro. These gals over here, man. Gals, what the fuck? What's the male version of that? What's the non-binary version of that? Honestly, I don't give a fuck. Like, unless someone tells me, hey, that's fucking hurts my feelings, I don't know. So, you know. But then it's hard to gauge whether or not it really hurts their feelings or whether they're just trying to make some kind of fucking social statement. You know? If you're trying to change my language, I'm going to have an immediate sort of aversion to that because I know that language is programming. It's how we think. And when you change language, you change programming. So, oh, see? Beach? You're right. Okay. Oh my goodness. My perception, I mean, it's just an online thing, you know? I always imagined you as like, I don't know, like going to beach, like wearing. I imagine you as like a fit dude with short hair. I don't know why. Maybe that was you in a past life or something. So, Why is it horrible, witness, to call someone dude? Is it because it's a hair on an elephant's ass? Does the name John St. John mean anything? I know a YouTuber in Sedona who knew him connected with Ventura. Yeah, it does sound familiar, Anne. John St. John. It surely does. And Cynthia grew up in Santa Cruz, so to her, she just said dude is a gender neutral term to her. She grew up in Beach Surf County. Most of my friends that are girls, they will call me man or dude, and like I will respond man, dude, man. You know, it's it's just like language. It's gender neutral to me. But I was on a game design team once, and I said, "Man, I think this would be a really cool idea. I think we should definitely try that." And we were on a video conference, and when I said, "Man, dude, man, this is a good idea," when I said the word "man," there was a physical, visceral reaction from the person I was talking to. And instead of addressing me and saying, "I don't want to be called man," the person sat there fuming for the entirety of the rest of the meeting, and then reported it to the producer. And then the producer called me and said, "Hey, we got to stop saying that. We got to stop slipping," because he had done it too. And then he did it again. I didn't. I did it one time. I saw the reaction. I'm like, okay, not gonna refer to you as that anymore. Rural England. Black flag. Y'all are funny. Yeah. If you haven't seen the Fallout show on Amazon, and you have Amazon, highly recommend it. I think it is poignant, timely, and my expectations for it were near zero, possibly sub-zero. But the casting, the narrative, the writing, the design, the mix, the light and the heavy elements in the narrative are done really well. I will say that the second and third episodes that were written by Nolan, not Christopher Nolan, but his brother, weren't as good as the rest, but it's all really good. Poignant, timely. Things to consider and think about while enjoying not mindless, but some mindless entertainment. Stuff that's just like fun to watch. But hell, those are my preferences. I'm a huge Fallout fan, and I've been for a long time, because of the presentation that it gives, and it's a simulation of mutually assured destruction, which is a potential reality here on Earth, and we have very little to do with it. We may see nukes clouds, and then just like in Terminator, and it won't have anything to do with us. Whoever's left over is in the mountains and shit. They're essentially royalty. And they'll probably do some kind of weird inbreeding shit like they do in Fallout in the Vaults. I'm not sure I know the difference between rural England and England. I mean, rural would mean countryside, right? Yeah. I don't have a lot of family from there. Most of my ancestors are from uh, Normandy, Fleurs, and Paris, and uh, oh, what's the other place? Not Belgium. Um, well, let's just say in places around, because that kind of goes up through southern France, up northeast, and then north. So that trek. And then they came here and colonialized and started screwing the Indians here. And that's why Papa Head looks like a native, because he is. And his last name Head was because that's how they counted natives. They didn't have, my I was given a name by a chief, and that's how you would get your name. Your father, mother, or the community would name you based on your deeds or whatever. And all those names were too barbaric and archaic and savage, so they just applied the same rule as they used with cattle to humans. And so all the Muskogean tribes that were in these areas where they were renaming people, they got renamed Head. He wasn't part of the upper echelon of the native tribes that were affluent. It was southern Mississippi, part of the uh, poor farmers. It's a bucket list of mine to go to Europe and see some of my ancestral homes. Big bucket list item. Maybe one day. You took a boat train from Norwich to London when you were 11 years old. What a trip. That must have been something. It must have been something. A boat train. What the fuck is a boat train? Sounds cool. Well, so far as no broadcast Thursday. All the gaming stuff I put on hold. Broadcasts. But everything as it looks right now, it should be on track for next Monday. I bet it was cool, Whitney. Did you feel something? I want to know. Like, was there some indescribable feeling? Just it's a yes or no question. Like, because if you can't describe it, you can't describe it, right? Like, it's just like, whoa. Oh, okay. You get off the channel boat and then take the train. Gotcha. I don't know what it is about not just music, but like this kind of stuff, or just whatever it is I'm doing, whatever it is we're doing. Like, I get way more. It seems like in every way, creatively, music or ideas, I get more. Um, on average, I get more people listening in Europe. We sold more records we sold almost all the records Cortez Del Mar had in Europe. I haven't promoted the album in Europe yet. I did it all. I did all the U.S. stuff the year that it came out, but there were so many, and after I finished, I was like, I don't want to do Europe. There's less, but I just did like 200 submissions, so I guess that's something to do, because everything that Skeeter and I do, and a lot of other artists, honestly, from this area, is very well received in Europe. Germany, France, Switzerland, Netherlands, uh, places like that. Oh my God, the young lady living there was nice enough to let you inside. It was surreal to think they all live there in that very house. I'm telling you, like, it has got to be something. Like, to go to Fleurs, France, and just to see a farm, like, it feels like I'm gonna want to hug onto a tree and and have to be dragged away. It just seems like that's like my country, or there's some kind of connection to the land there. Not countries, not borders, fuck all that, but just the land itself, that area. I do have a pretty strong connection here too. Anytime I leave, you know, I feel it pulling me back. Some people say Lake Charles is a void of a town because it's like it sucks you back. It's not Lake Charles, it's Louisiana. It's the whole damn state. If you're from here, there's things here that are just not like anywhere else, and things you can't get anywhere else, food you can't have anywhere else, places you can see that aren't like anywhere else. There's thousands of birds, millions of insects. So, oh my God. You walk the path they would have taken to the mines, saw the same mountains, trees. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the experience that I want to have. Maybe one day I'd love to take the kids. We could all learn something, experience something. All right, then. Well, we've gone almost an entire hour over. I realized that, I'm going to be taking all of this stuff apart, and that might make you nervous, but don't assume I'm dead if I'm not able to broadcast Monday. But I probably will be able to get everything set up, weather permitting, because sometimes the weather here will just throw you a curveball. So, fingers crossed for decent weather and no major issues with the trailer or getting my weed before I go, or the interview tomorrow on surviving trauma, which I am quite interested to see how it turns out. David Keck is a really nice dude. He's got an incredible story himself, and he is very passionate about telling people's stories after having an extreme experience of his own. So, um, well, if you're going to tell people to join the Discord, I'll post the link there. That's the link to the Discord. Yeah, it really was something special. Thanks for giving me some insight of what to look forward to. Because that sounds exactly like what I want and kind of expect, but I have no idea how it's gonna feel. Je comprends. Oui, oui. Au revoir. See you next time. Big hugs. Have a great week. Do good things. Discretion is the better part of valor. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. I don't know what else to say. Live long and prosper.